Welcome to the new episode of All Jazz. I'm your host Matthias, and I have with me Maya Do. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Matthias. Thanks for having me. And hi to everybody who's tuning in and listening. Yes, thank
Yes.
you. It's honored to be here. I love your work.
You love my work, you said.
Yeah, I love people who are, giving us people who do other kind of stuff an opportunity to express ourselves and show our work and, just have a platform to kind of talk. I think it's something that's pretty relatively new and I just love it. So your work is definitely important because you're going to reach totally different audience that I'm reaching with some other people I'm collaborating with. So this is great.
That's amazing. And I was surprised to find that you are from Croatia, which is obviously borders Slovenia, which is where I grew up. Not many people know that, but yeah. So how
Yeah.
did all this happen? Like that you ended up in Canada, obviously, but something happened to you in your spiritual search, let's say.
It did it or did it not? I don't know. I just want to say it's fun that we figure out we kind of lived close by because I can actually pronounce your name right.
Right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's fun. Yeah. I really had no idea or no intention I'm going to go to Canada, to be honest, when it happened or before it happened. I moved to Canada about 7 years ago. I was born and raised in Croatia. I finished high school there. After
Zagreb.
high school, like in Zagreb. Yeah, that's right. And I have to be honest, I think it's a wonderful place to live and kind of seeing it now. I appreciate a lot of things about it, but that's not the way I was seeing it at the time. So I felt like I really don't belong there. I was born in a wrong place. I never resonated with music they were playing, and the ways that they partied or whatever. I mean, I did all of that, but it never felt like it was something that's mine. I never felt myself there, to be honest. And so I had a job. I actually got to the point where I manifested for myself a really great paying job. I worked for an airline. I was a station manager.
Nice.
Yeah. But I was kind of getting sick and tired of it all. I felt something was calling me. I wasn't sure what, and so I tried to go and work on a cruise ship. I thought that's going to be a solution, so I decided to be a photographer on a cruise ship, and I never did that before. But it was kind of easy to get. So I went there. I worked for 2 years on cruise ships. I traveled the world.
Oh, that
And then I
sounds
started to
amazing,
get tired.
actually. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
It is pretty crazy story. Yeah. And then I got back to Croatia from cruise ships because I just couldn't handle that. The cruise ships are very intense. They can be fun and it's all great, but you like work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Oh,
nonstop.
wow.
And actually, at the time when I worked, it wasn't paid that well. And I was like, this is not really what I'm looking for. I want more ease. I want more ease. So I came
Yeah.
back and I went back to airlines because that was the only thing I knew how to do. And then I felt miserable again and like I felt trapped. It's like, oh, I'm going to be stuck here forever. There is no way for me to get out of this. And I was 30 years old and I lived in an apartment with roommates. I had like a pretty, what some would consider fun life. I was going out, I was partying a lot. So I don't want to complain and just portray it as a really dark picture, but I felt something calling me. And then I met a lady who did card readings in Croatia, which I've never done before. And she told me, you're going to travel across the ocean and you're going to move there somewhere, but you're going to be with a man from our lands. Like you're not going to blah, blah, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, right. No way that's going to happen. But, it did happen. A couple of
She,
months after I met her,
she
I
said
met
a
a
man
guy.
from our lands, or like a
Yes, that's how she.
foreign man.
No, no, the man from like our lands from Croatia or like that area. Like she said, you're
Oh, I
not gonna
see.
meet a stranger, like not a stranger, but someone that's ours.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's how it happened. I got an opportunity, and he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm leaving to Canada in 4 months. I'm asking around
Mm.
whoever wants to come with me and take the opportunity. Everybody's saying they want to, but nobody really wants to." And I said, "Hey, you know what? I think I do." I think this is what I've been calling for. So I quit my job, well-paid job. I honestly, I had no money. I was so much in debt, even though because I had this like poor me, I never have money. I
Right.
kind of had a really crazy life, moving all the time. So I kind of closed all my debts. I was able to do that. And then with literally $150, I sat on an airplane and went to Canada, not knowing at all where I'm going or what I'm going to be doing or how this is all going to look like.
So this is before you're in a relationship with a guy, but something tells you that Canada and going there and being close to him will be good for you.
I wasn't really seeing that, to be honest. I just felt I want to move. I felt I want to go. I felt this is not it. I wasn't happy at my work. I wasn't happy with the relationships I had there. um Kind of, I felt tired. I was like, I need a change, but I just have no idea how to change it, because when you're in that space, how could you even see? You're doing this job and you're having these people around you and you want a different, but sometimes you can't even comprehend on how it could possibly play out. And I feel important thing to say, what I'm getting now is like to stay open to possibilities at all times, not having to know everything and having it all figured out, but just being open to it. And because I clicked with this guy, I really liked his vibe, and we had some really good time. I knew him a little bit from before, but never so close. And we actually fell in love, like together. It was really fun. And then I said, okay, I think this is like we've been hanging out for a couple of months, had a really great time together. And said, yeah, I think this is great. Like it makes me happy when I think of being with this person. I'm just having lots of fun. It's way better than anything else that's around me. So of course, I'm following that fun feeling, that happy feeling. That
Mm.
was my thing. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't that happy when we came.
Right. So you both fell in love with each other in Canada.
A little bit before. So we
Oh,
met. We spent 3-4 months together, kind of hanging out, falling in love, and smiling around all of that. And then he said, "I'm leaving to Canada, like very soon." And he left to Canada. I stayed for 6 more months in Croatia. And then when I finished all my affairs and kind of leveled everything out in terms of money and stuff, that's when I decided to go. Like I quit my job and I went after him. So he was already in Canada, kind of started working and found an apartment and stuff. And then I just kind of joined him.
was this in 2014 when you went to Canada?
2014. Yeah, that's right. Yes,
Wow,
yes.
that's interesting because that's when I left Toronto. I was there for a year, and for
Oh,
me, it was probably the best year of my life so far, I would say, by and large. But I had to leave because my visa expired, and obviously I had not met anybody that, or I had a girl, but like it was only for a few months, and then yeah, anyway, so I ended up being there for only 14 months, and then I had to leave, like, and yeah, that was
yeah.
like in August.
And you know what is what I feel to tell you now? It's like, when things aren't working out, there must be a reason for it. I know a lot of people that tried to come, to Canada. It didn't play out for them. I had a couple of friends that visited us and tried and make it happen here, and it didn't work out. And then they went to Ireland. I think that was their next kind of attempt.
Right.
But you know what? It's like it's we all trying to find this happy feeling in different places and through the people and all that stuff. And then when you spend some time here, you realize it's not about the circumstances, it's not about the place, it's not so much about the people, it's all about you. And you carry all of you with you wherever you go. So I have to admit, I had some, times when I was in Canada and I was thinking, F this, like, should I go back to Croatia? Like, I wasn't sure if this was the right decision for me. So don't think that, just because it didn't play out the way you wanted it, and just because you had that 1 year of fun there, that it would be a perfect decision for you in long term.
Right.
So that's what I want to help, and that's what I kind of teach people through my work as well, is just accepting where you are and realizing that sometimes things don't play out for a good reason. And when they do, it's just for another lesson and another lesson and another lesson. Because and I have this appreciation because I got an opportunity to see that big difference. Like East is so different than the West, and I never could really understand what was it. And now from this perspective, where I am, I can see kind of the benefits and the downsides of all of them. There is no better place on the planet for you. There's just the place where you are and what you're doing with it.
Mhm.
That's, in my opinion, what it is. Yeah.
Right. And also might be also some of it like a belief system, because I don't know why, for some reason I always said, look, if I can't stay in Canada, I'll just go to Scotland and see. Like that was like, I don't know, I just started saying that
So
like
you
to some.
knew.
No, I don't know, like I just started like saying that because it seemed to me like a fallback option, like it's easy, it's probably gonna, I could live there. And then I ended up like 6 months after I left Canada, I ended up in Scotland, you know. And so
And sometimes we get inspiration. I do soul communication work. So I believe we have a soul. I believe we have a guiding system. That's the intuition. Some call it higher self, some call it soul, some call it intuition, some even call it God. It's like it doesn't really matter how you want to describe what it is, but it's something
mhm,
within you that's giving you ideas and thoughts and feelings about stuff. And
right.
I want to say that you actually kind of felt, but on some kind of level that wasn't very clear to you at that time, where you felt like, this doesn't quite feel like it's going to work out. So what would be my next option? And Scotland was coming because it was calling you, I feel. And it's amazing, really. I think you knew it. You just didn't know you know it. And it feels a right move
Yeah,
because,
well,
yeah.
yeah. I had, although it wasn't all, rosy and in Scotland, it was actually, I was living in hostels for years, and
Yeah.
that can be challenging, but I think I had learned more in Scotland than I would have if I stayed home, I think, for
Or in
sure.
Canada, it's like this is like what I find, and this is just my experience. So it's not everybody's, right? This is what I also love to talk. It's about these realities. We all think we live in the same reality, while in fact we live in infinite different realities. What's true for you is not true for somebody else, even though you're in the same space and time, right? So for me, Canada was amazing. It gave me a lot of space to clear my mind. Like it's totally different relationships between people. People are not so close together. They don't go as deep into one another, as we in Europe tend to go. So it gave me this space where nobody asked me nothing. Everybody was just being polite and saying hello on the street, but that was pretty much
And
all the
sorry,
interaction I
sorry.
was getting. And sorry. So I had the time to kind of clear my mind and really kind of cool off all the anger I had about the life that I was living in Croatia and experiences I had, because I also had a very tough life. I chose to be homeless when I was 18 because it was just like too hard for me to stay in the dysfunctional family and so on. And I was moving all the time. I never had any kind of group of people I belonged to. I was always kind of on the go in between places. And I have to be honest, most of my life, I feel like I don't even remember my life. I was just forgetting everything. I would travel the world and I was like, where are we? Oh, you're in Rome. Holy, how can you not know you're in Rome? But that was the place where I was at. I was just like, I didn't know where I'm at, where I am. And
Right.
Canada gave me space to do that. But what Canada also showed me, it's such a different mentality, such a different emotional space. And why I feel like my friends didn't really stay, they would find it really boring. I guess it depends on the place as well. I went to Calgary, and Calgary is like more family oriented town, with people with kids. And it's not like European culture where you can get out and step out and in like walk 20 minutes and find yourself in a nice park or whatever. I mean, you can, but here you can like walk for hours around neighborhoods and everything looks the same. And so, I just want to say I miss Europe for that reason. So like I said, maybe the reason why you went to Scotland is what I get is because you still needed that information you were getting from all those people you met in Scotland and all those experiences that you had. And it doesn't mean you will not eventually maybe move to Canada, but I'm just saying like maybe Canada would not give you that deep experience that you may had in Scotland, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, a lot of it was difficult, but yeah, I think I
Yeah,
learned a lot. And also I was living in an environment where it was mostly not Scottish people that I was around. I was around travelers, and my fellow workers there, almost none of them were Scottish. It was just like, people from
all around.
Poland, yeah, Italy, all around. Yes.
And isn't that what you still do? Sorry for interrupting you, but that's what I
Yes.
got for you, like data collector, right? So that's what I got for a data collector. I mean, you love surrounding yourself with people from all over the place and all over the space because you're kind of trying to find which direction do I really want to go? Which direction does really make me happy? And what a better way to find out the information than doing exactly what you were doing. So you had an opportunity to sift through all of those different experiences and interpretations of life, and what does mean good life, what is bad life, what is different culture, what is same culture, just so you could one day kind of clear up your own kind of how does Matias want to live, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and how, like, I think there's a part of your story that I'm missing as far as the spiritual development. You must have, were you like meditating before you met the gypsy lady, or was it after, or what was the?
I still don't meditate in a
Okay.
way that people perceive meditation. I think that's one of the misconceptions that you, in order to, do this work, you got to do it. But people don't even know what I'm doing, right? We didn't even say that. So soul communication, I want to start as a kid. I did had visions. I could feel people intensely. It's for me, it was like so obvious, you couldn't fool me. It was like if you were smiling at me, but you were not feeling it inside, it was very obvious for me. Or if a person would, everybody would say, hey, this person is bad, but I could see something beyond their bad. I would be attracted to them, and then I would find like a very rich personality underneath that bad. So I hang out with homeless people. I also hang out with super rich people. I've really like I've had so many different experiences just as yourself. I was collecting data. No prejudice, just kind of following. And yeah, sometimes it takes you to difficult experiences, but like in the end, it's what's difficult. So I always had that feeling. And as a kid, I was playing with cards and that kind of stuff. But where I grew up, that wasn't really nourished, or nobody really did that. I really didn't know that there is such thing as psychics. I didn't know. I just remember one time my mom got sick with cancer and she went to visit a healer, and my dad like lost it, and it was like a big drama around it, and it was like that's devil, and that's how can you do this thing. So that was my experience with alternative healing. So I had a very like a lot of anger really towards it, like I just get misunderstandings or not knowing what, but I was always attracted to it. So as I met that gypsy lady, as I met that person who did a card reading for me, everybody, even my ex-boyfriend, was telling me, oh, you're gonna go to somebody to tell you how you should live your life, that's such a bunch of BS. So I always had this input around me that was telling me this is wrong, this is unnecessary, this is the wrong way to go, this is,
Right.
but it was calling me, it was like, but nothing else gives me such clear answers as they do. And whenever I hear from those kind of people, I feel elevated, I feel excited. It gives me like this, oh, there is something more to life than just what it seems to be. So I always kind of had that, but I never really got around it. And then when I moved to Canada, because I ended up not having work permit for the first 6 months, and my boyfriend was working out of town, I found myself first time in my life being totally isolated. I was like you, I was always with people, always going around hostels, traveling, meeting everybody, having roommates, bam, always go, 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 ship. It was like dynamic, dynamic, dynamic. And then I got to Canada and it was like cut off from everything and everyone, and it was boom, it was very depressing time for me. So it was very hard, but so I again, you follow your trail, you do the best you can, and it is what it is. And then I started to meet people, and I was getting like a message, you will find a teacher in Canada. That's what I
Mm,
was hearing even in Croatia, like you will find a teacher. And I thought it's gonna be this native man. I had all this like prejudices and
right.
misconceptions in my head, like it's gonna be a native and it's gonna have feathers and we're gonna sing in a teepee. because I wanted to have that experience of some higher meaning, of this spirit that connects things, it was like I was interested in it, but I couldn't really figure it out in my mind. And then my teacher turned out to be a lady who was in her 50s, and she was dyslexic, and she was nothing like I could have envisioned. But approached me, and she started to talk to me, and we kind of started to hang out together. And then I realized that she was an energy healer, and I started actually going to her for sessions. And then I realized she opened up a school online that was teaching about energy and energy work and how to do readings and stuff. So I really got into that. I was really excited. It started to make so much sense to me, because in her school, she was explaining everything I have ever experienced in my life, but I couldn't really figure it out.
Right.
It was like, why did I became suddenly so anxious to go, like in Canada, what happened to me, I couldn't even go to the store. I was like so anxious, I couldn't get out of my apartment, and I couldn't, like, what's wrong with me? Like I was never like this, what's happening here?
Right.
But it was like my life trying to show me and teach me certain stuff. And this is what I think challenges, when they come, they're just here to, show you some other hidden stuff that you could never discover without it. So as I started to learn from her and from that school, I think that's what brought like the major transformation in my life. And that's what I started to realize what beliefs are, what repetitive thoughts are, how emotions are playing out in our lives, how we, carry all our baggage with us wherever we go. But I've also learned on how to release that baggage, and how to recognize it, and how to be honest with myself, and how to really have strength to admit what's not working and what's working, and blah, 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 blah. And then I even tried to kind of start the business with that lady, because I really loved her work. She taught me how to meditate with a push of a button, when you say meditation, but I wanted something fresh. I wanted something new. I tried to meditate. I felt like, nah. Then I
Right.
tried to do chakra work, and I felt, well, nah, so I went to sound healing, and nah. And then I tried regular therapy. I went to a psychologist, and the only recommendation they were giving me is like, oh, take pills. It will make it easier for you. And then just
Of
wait till it
course.
washes out, right? But all of these things and all of it was great, but it wasn't working. It wasn't working out for me. So what did start working was those sessions with that lady. And then I tried to even get in business with her, but I started to feel tired, and we decided we're going to separate. She said it's time for us to go separate. And I started feeling bad, because I thought, oh, this is the end. I will never
Right.
succeed. I'll always be a failure. Like wherever I go, it's just a bunch of crap. So that's kind of the road I was getting into. But I already had enough knowledge that I gained from that school and from her to not go deeper in it. But when we separated, it was a bit of emotional times, like a couple of weeks of feeling like you failed. And then I started to kind of get really information in. So for me, meditation, like she taught me, you just push a button on your body. For everybody, can be different. And I just say meditate. And it brings me into this like state of ease. And when you're in the state of ease, then you start getting inspired for action. So I started to be inspired for action. I did achieve some really amazing results after. I was obese because I got pregnant and I had a baby. So I got obese. I was, I think, over 110 kilograms.
Okay.
But
So
after, yeah,
that's about 250 in pounds ish. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know. It was a lot. It
Like,
was a lot. But that was it. Like I was depressed. I had a baby. I was even more depressed after the baby. I was like, oh, poor me, no family, no friends. I'm all alone. This Canada, everybody is so like distant, all that stuff. But I did all of that work, and I started to be inspired, like I said, for action. And I started to challenge all of my beliefs. And I had a lot of them. I mean, we came from Eastern Europe. Exercise is not really popular. Um, I don't know what you think, but it was in my experience. Like, nobody was really fit or whatever, like or it was just my personal experience, like
Right.
losing weight was something difficult, something hard. So I decided to challenge those beliefs. So I would do a session like I learned in that school for myself. And I was like, what if I start thinking and believing that exercise is fun, that losing weight is easy, that I don't have to sacrifice anything in order to achieve that result? And it took me a while to get there, but I eventually got there, and I lost so much weight in such a short time while still eating chocolate cakes, and while still, I would eat a chocolate cake and I would do like tests. I would play with it, because I wasn't sure if this whole thing is working. Am I really psychic, or are these coincidences? Am I really getting these visions, or is it just, am I going crazy? Is this really about the beliefs, or is this bunch of BS? I was like struggling between
Right.
that old identity and the new identity that wanted to emerge. So I would play, I would eat a chocolate cake, I would purposely go over the calorie budget, and I would tell my body, burn this. Let me see if you can burn this, and if I can wake up next morning with the weight loss, even though I exceeded calorie budget, and I would be successful in it. I have
Wow,
to be
that's
honest,
amazing.
it is, it's like mind boggling. And I couldn't really, like, I couldn't do it for a long time, I gotta be honest. It's something that you practice and you exercise, so it's not something that you're gonna decide and it's gonna work all the time, because we've been programmed for so long that certain food does certain thing to your body, that certain, things are just the way they are.
Right,
And to
right,
break those things, it's not always, an easy, it's not always so easy. So i would
right.
i would have ups and downs, of course. It wasn't just butterflies and unicorns, but I was challenging my beliefs around everything: food, exercise, relationships to people, money, work, job, everything. Because I realized whatever I was doing, I was unhappy, unhappy, unhappy. I would have this great partner, I would still feel unhappy. I would find this great job, I would still eventually be unhappy. And I was like, okay, so where does the happy come from?
Right,
You
right,
know?
right. So I look that love that you refer to as a calorie budget. That's a really interesting way to look at it. Um, I think as far as Slovenia, like how people exercise. I think people are a little bit more obese than when I was there last time, but they're not compared to UK, nothing at all. Like people are more active. People seem to be walking more, and there's a lot more. I don't know. Glasgow is like a big city, and in a small town, a lot of people are walking and all that. So I think by and large, they are very active people. So but yeah, yeah, like you said, if somebody gains weight, then it's that belief system that's around them and the way everybody's seeing them that's maybe preventing them. Would you say?
I realize so much, and this is like the work that I'm doing is pretty much channeling. So what I do is I enter the meditative state of mind, so to speak, and then I channel information. And the way I know if it's kind of correct or not is by the feeling. So if your
Mm,
body feels any negative emotion, it means it's not aligned with who you are. It means your soul see it in a different way than you're trying to logically kind of explain it to yourself.
okay.
Um, so I would say that me gaining weight was actually very beneficial for me at that time, because I had no support, I had no family, nothing. Nothing was giving me the energy to move on. So I started to, pick the foods and the drinks that were giving me that energy. I mean, I gained a lot of weight just because I was really like drinking 10, 15 Pepsis a day. I'll be honest, and I was like a total couch potato. I didn't had energy for anything. It was just like having a baby is really can be a challenging thing. And then all of these things from past started to come up, for me. And
Right.
I started to go into that healing journey kind of world. So they like to dig around the past as well, which I don't really do as much anymore. But I would say that, gaining weight is not a bad thing. A lot of people think it's like this terrible, terrible thing, but it's not, I would say. And, if I'm going to be honest with you, I gained so much weight, but I was never healthier. Like when I was in Croatia, I was perfectly fit. I was on the move all the time, but I was constantly sick because I all the time, I even got a cancer.
Right.
I had like colds all the time that would last like for a week or two. So I would say I through this experience, I realized that also being sick doesn't come from food or from exercise or anything. Being healthy really comes from, the state of mind, the peace that
Right.
you're
Right.
in,
Right.
the how much you feel you're participating in your own life. And then the weight helped me to process all of this stuff. And when I found myself like ready, okay, I'm strong enough, I don't need that additional output from food or whatever to give me this energy. I can actually have the capacity to produce my own energy again in this new way. That's when I started to lose weight. But I want to say that sometimes I'll have a people come to me for sessions and like, oh, I really want to lose weight, I'm struggling with it for a long time, and I get, it's not good for you to lose it yet. You got to stick with it for some
Oh,
time, wait for a bit, and when the right time comes, it's going to be easy. And this is what I see,
wow.
there is this like idea that, efforting, or you got to push yourself through the limits, it's going to
Right.
be
Right. Right.
helpful. But I don't really see that thing like work in a long term, because you still have that animosity, you still feel like you're doing something against your body to beat it or win over it or whatever.
Right.
I totally found a different approach. I found like I was befriending my body before I did it. So I was like, okay, I'm okay with this weight, I'm not trying to force anything. I even started to love myself in that big body. It was the first time, I had this all seemingly perfect life full of, people from all over the world traveling
Right.
and
Right. Right.
partying and having fun. But I was unhappy, and then I got fat, which is terrible thing. And I was looking in the mirror and I was saying, I love you. It was the first time in my life where I brought myself to be able to love myself when I was that big. And it was a big achievement for me. I never thought it's going to happen like that. But then the time came when I was like, okay, now I love myself in all shapes and forms, whether I'm big or small, whether I'm old or young, whether I'm upset or not. So I kind of became friends with all that I am. And when I did that, then I got like one morning, I just got up and I got, okay, it's time. I don't need this to carry this anymore. I don't need energy from there.
Wow.
It's time to, and then I had this experience of having it fun, right? So I was still eating all the food. I was doing like easy exercise, no equipment, nothing.
Right.
And
That's
I lost
interesting.
like, yeah, yeah.
It's interesting that you sometimes give advice that it should be they should well they could stay that weight because otherwise you're not accepting yourself maybe at that weight. But if you are, then it'll be easier to lose weight, I guess. If you accept that it's easier to change something
Yes.
than if you're not.
This is what I want to say. Acceptance is a huge component in manifesting what you want to see. You will never achieve like the long-term success you're wanting to achieve as long as you don't accept things for what they are. And
Right
this is what
now,
we can
like,
see, like,
hmm,
yeah, exactly. Like let's say an example, politics, it doesn't have to be a weight loss or whatever. Like just observe Croatia or whatever it is. It's like people spinning themselves in the centuries old stories. It's always about some kind of conflict. It's always about trying to achieve conquer something, and
sure.
being in that fear and being in that. And that, do things really change? Maybe a
Well,
little bit.
it takes a
Yeah.
while for things to change,
Yeah.
but the way
But you faster change it if you accept things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like when you accept it, when you see it from that higher perspective, then any kind of shift you want to achieve happens more easily and naturally and quickly,
But with
in my
politics,
experience.
isn't it like if you spend like there's a saying that if you lay with dogs, you're gonna get fleas, right? Yeah. Before we went on, you talked about the lake. If you go into the lake and all that, there's a quote by Winston Churchill, the great Winston Churchill. He said, in war you can die only once. In politics, many times. It's kind of like, you know.
Well, in spiritual world, I died many times. So it's like,
Sure,
no, I don't
sure.
know. but I just say it is what it is. It's like if you expose yourself constantly to the same old stories, you won't achieve anything new. That's the only thing I want to say. It's like if you spend so much energy into observing what is and talking about what is, you don't allow yourself to receive new information that's going to help you bring new solutions to the table.
Right.
It's just like about the focus. So if, let's say, you have a solution and the problem, and you keep staring at the problem, you can't really see the solutions. Even if solution comes right in front of your face, it's like I had solutions all the time in front of me for weight loss and everything, but I couldn't bring myself to do it because I was so focused on, this is so hard to do, this is impossible to do, I'll never do it, this
Right.
is very difficult for me. So I was emphasizing the problem. So even though solutions were already there for me, I wasn't in a space to allow them to come. And this is what
Hmm.
I'm teaching people, so when you accept, and when you accept things for what they are, and just like a little bit, okay, it is what it is, what new can happen now, you're
Right.
more open to receive information, right? And
Hmm.
this is why we live in the same world, right? In many, many different ways. I mean, that shows you how strong beliefs are and what focus does.
Right. So acceptance and love, I guess, is the key to. I remember my grandmother used to have this saying. She often say, if you're not satisfied with small, you don't deserve more, or something like that. How do you say
Mm.
it in Slovenian? Če z
Yeah,
majhnim
yeah,
nisi, če z majhnim nisi zadovoljen, več si ne zaslužiš, or something like that. I don't know how much you understand, but
yeah,
so
yeah.
she would often say that, and I guess there is truth to that, because, or if you're not even accepting, if you're not grateful for it, I guess grateful is a higher energy. So if you're not grateful for the small, then you're less likely to get something more, right?
Yes, yeah. Oh, that subject can be like discussed very
Yeah.
deeply.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, very deeply. But yeah, yeah. In the essence, yes, it is like
Okay.
that.
Let's talk about decisions. That's something that seemingly throughout my life I've struggled with, and I know many other people struggle with. So what's a good way to make a decision? Because like I remember when I was deciding whether or not to go to university, and it was during the pandemic and all that, and it seemed like I'm just gonna, it seems like an easy way, and I'm gonna get some support or something, so I'm just gonna do that instead of go right to work, because I got accepted, so why not? So that was my thought process, and I left it out literally to the last day or something until I accepted offer and all that stuff. So it took me a long time. um and then even then when I'm in, that was a problem. I wasn't totally committed, and still not kind of, so I'm kind of going halfway. But anyway, what's your thought process on decisions like that?
That's a fun question. Like I'm getting a lot of goosebumps on it.
All right.
Decisions. And this has a lot to do with intuition, and exactly the reason why people are hesitant to develop and work on more on their intuition and trusting themselves, just because so many times something looked really good and something felt really right, and you went and did it, and it turned out to be a very sucky and challenging experience, right? So it's like, how come my intuition can tell me that this is so good? And let's say, as an example, a relationship, right? So you picked a person and it went all butterflies and all awesome, and then that person dumped you, right? Or whatever. So how come? And then we start giving up on our intuition, because we say, yo, you're not taking me in the right direction. I just
Yes.
gonna go and I'm gonna put myself on automatic, and whatever happens happens, right? Kind of like that. But this is, you know when I do sessions, I speak from a soul perspective, and soul perspective is something that I like to describe as something that goes like above the human mind. The human mind likes the logic, and it likes to build stuff, likes to be concrete and have plans and know
Yes.
stuff and analyze stuff, and all that. But when you really look back in your life? Like, was there ever a wrong decision? Haven't you learned something from it? Hasn't it given birth to a new desire? So even if, let's say, you went into that relationship that didn't end up so well, but didn't you decide that you want more from your life from that experience? Wasn't it like, I want more respect in my relationship, I want more connection in my relationship?
Right.
So it's like, I want to say, challenges and bad stuff that happens is not really bad. It's just something that gives birth to new desires and new concepts that we then bring into the reality and we create. And honestly, we as a species, as a human, we evolve constantly, and this evolution will never stop happening. And we evolve exactly because of the challenges that we're presented with. It's like, as an example, what I'm getting now, like, people used to ride horses all the time, and then a person with a car showed up and everybody was judging them, oh, how can you do this, horses are amazing, blah blah blah. But
Right.
it just is. And then you figure out, oh, maybe the car is not the best idea, maybe we can, do something better. And so we go on and we go on and we go on, and you never really get it done.
Right.
So when you realize that you never get it done, you will always expose yourself to contrasting experiences and situations that will always ask from you to grow more, expand more, realize more things you thought you kind of, oh, I know about that, but boy, it's like layers and layers and layers of understanding. You think you know what a relationship is, and then through every person you have ever had experience with, you deepen that understanding of what relationship
Right.
really means and how
So
can it.
so there's no mistake really, because you kind of like
You
you
cannot get it wrong. You
well, even
cannot
if
get it
you
wrong.
even if you choose a person that's wrong, then you're like, oh, I'm not gonna do that again, or you kind of learn from it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, this is what I ran into sessions like quite often. So, okay, let's see it this way. Okay. So you watch your parents, right? Or
Yes.
maybe having a good relationship or not, and you learn about relationships through that experience. And then you watch movies. And then in movies, whenever somebody separates, there's always like, we gotta feel bad, we gotta feel bad. And then you have all these songs that people made billions on, telling about how hard life is and how devastating it is to
Right.
a breakup
Right.
to happen. So this is how you created your form of beliefs. And you're experiencing that emotionally just because that's what you believe. You believe if a person told you no, it's the end of the world and it's something against your own personality, or that something wrong with you or something wrong with that person. And you take it as a bad thing just because we haven't learned to look forward more than look, in that way. So for me, it's like, breakup, it should be a time for celebration. It's like, we've done it, we played it, it felt great when we did it, it felt good for a while, and then problems started to surface, and then we realized we don't really want to handle those, or we maybe not willing to grow, or we just want to kind of stick to our guns and just continue being stubborn in our own different separate ways. And so we separate. But when I look, like, I had a lot of relationships, I was jumping from a relationship to relationship because my family really didn't know how to have a good relationship. So
Right.
I kind of
So
was,
you
kind
learned.
of going,
So you learned that. Right.
dysfunction is kind of normal, right? So I went there and I tried to bend myself over, or sacrifice myself just in order to keep it going. But when I realized now, it's like all of those relationships were really great. They were all preparing me for where I am right now. And all of these people, I still see them as an amazing people who found partners that were better for them than what I was. So it's also like not being attached to this egoistic thing that, oh, I'm the best for this person, or this person is
Right.
best
Right.
for
Right.
me. What if we just allow each other to explore life? What if we are here to, okay, we meet, sparks are there, feels really great, let's try it. Why do we have to put this stamp onto it? And I
Well,
mean, I have a great.
some people say that they have this ideology, you should date only to marry, like, or nothing in between. Like, yeah, and I'm just saying,
Yeah, and that's their belief.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
And
like,
how is that working out for them?
for some it's working, for some it's not.
Exactly. Exactly. So in my sessions, I will see people that, it's like, there was this, as an example, a guy who was 18 years old, and he's like, I know I want to get married and I want to have kids already. I don't want to have a lot of relationships. But there was a group of people who were convincing him that's wrong. You got to play around, you got to have lots, you're going to miss
Oh
out
yeah.
on life. So he was thinking that he was being led in a wrong direction, but that's not true. On the other hand, you also have people, well, I'm never finding that person. Well, you're just playing around. So it's like really realizing that life isn't black and white and isn't good or bad. It's just different. And we are really called now to see what resonates with me. If I want to get married early and if I want to have one partner, why not? But
Mm,
also, if am I just trying to find the relationships just to be with someone because that proves that I'm better than if I'm single? So it's like, I don't see bad in anything. I think uh, people are maybe looking for the love in the wrong places. They're depending on circumstance to manage their feelings, or
right.
how.
Right.
But it's not that. So for me, I had relationships and relationships and relationships, and nothing working out, and always like sad or blah. And then one day I said enough, and it was when the guy, I was so in love with him, and he ditched me. Like, he didn't show up for the date. I just kind of ended up all by myself drinking beer with guys who worked there. So it was like, here is me, this beautiful woman that everybody wanted. I had a lot of people who wanted to be in a relationship with me, but and then I find this one guy that kind of ditched me and doesn't show up on a date. What the F is that? But
Right.
he was perfect. If he hadn't done that, I thank him so much now, because that exact event brought me to that feeling of, you know what, like, I'm done trying to find my joy through somebody else. And this was the first time in my life where I've accepted, okay, maybe I'm done with like jumping from relationship to relationship. Maybe I just want to be by myself a little bit, and it's okay to be by myself. And I would rather be by myself than being miserable in a relationship. I don't
Mm,
want to do this anymore. I want relationship to be helpful for me. I don't
right.
want it to feel like work.
Right.
And what happened next? And as soon as that's the acceptance. So it's not like forcing things to happen. It's like accepting them. Okay, so and that's when I met my husband now. That's when I met that guy that took me to Canada. He showed up a couple of months later when I was like so ready to not sacrifice myself for anybody else. And we started dating by saying all the worst things about ourselves. It's like, usually you meet someone and you want to show yourself in the best light, present yourself in the best possible way. And we met, and I started saying, I don't like to cook. I'm not a great cleaner. I'm not going to bend
Oh,
myself to make you happy. Like, I gave him
I have an idea.
and
Maybe
yeah.
that's a good way to start. If somebody's using an internet dating profile, just put the worst things on, and then whoever gets to that is like, good on you.
A winner. But this
Like,
is what we
yeah.
said, and I want to suggest that really to see how this is. So, before I was like, oh, I'm gonna marry this one, or I'm gonna, all these kind of movie ideas, right?
Right.
How a relationship is supposed to look like to be good. And then I met him, and I said, you know what, let's not put a stamp on anything. How about we keep it open, but in a sense that, okay, we want to have relationship as long as it brings us something valuable, or as long as it feels it's right. And let's keep in mind that we will always be kind of knowing more about ourselves and learning more about each other. It's because we change as people. Change is a
Yeah.
part, and that's why relationships are hard, because people think, the person I met first day is going to be the same person in 5, 10, 20 years, and that's like totally not about it. So we just said,
Yeah.
let's keep it just like open like that. Let's see how it's going to go, and that's it. Let's just see how it's going to go, and let us have just one rule, that we are of more help to one another than we are to drag each other down.
Right, right.
And
And then you
that was
see
the only.
people see that with friends. Like, you have friends
Yeah,
when you're 15 years old. It's usually not the same friends when you're 25 or 35. You kind of, some
yeah,
people change, they grow out of your life, and other people come. It's
yeah.
kind of like, so
And that's exactly the way it should
right.
be.
There's people that are married 45 years, and there's people that wouldn't be possible, because there's a lot of famous people, like, because those are the easiest to look at, because like you see, like Frank Sinatra, let's say 3 or 4 wives, every decade, boom, boom, boom. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, I guess people change, or like the person that you met is not the person that you married now 5 years later, or I don't know, like things
But
change.
this is it. But this is exactly it, and how it connects to decisions, right? It's like, aren't we here to play? I mean, some people believe life is a struggle. I started to see it as a play because it feels good for me to see it that way. So let's play. Why
Okay.
do we have to, make permanent choices? Because there is no such thing as permanence in this lifetime. You are constantly changing. Nothing is permanent. Permanent is illusion. It doesn't exist. You're going to die eventually. You're going to get sick eventually. You're going to,
You know what?
okay.
This reminds me of a great. I was listening to Frank Capra, the director of. I don't know if you've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life, but the
Hmm.
way, he saw those movies in those days, it's kind of like newspaper. You put one out, it's kind of, it gets old, and then the new one comes out. So he
Yes.
never thought of it as something that would be permanent, like, yeah, and then classic 80 years later. It's something that he thought just maybe a success for the day, and then we move on. We
Exactly, but this is what gives you a fertile ground to have something truly extraordinary and
yeah,
amazing, because this is what love is. People think love is all butterflies and unicorns and fluffy
right,
clouds, but unconditional love is feeling love without the condition, without needing a certain condition.
right,
So
right.
when you're in the space of letting your partner be free and evolve and grow, and you are there to either challenge them or support them, but seeing them from that perspective, look how
Mhm.
open that is, look how much abundance is in there, instead of let's have this relationship for this and this reasons or whatever.
Right. Well, what do you think
But
of symbolism, let's say? Because it happened to me this recently. That there was years ago, I was around in town in Edinburgh, and I saw this girl playing. No, not playing. She was singing, and she was busking, on the street. And for some reason, I thought, this is she looks nice, and I really like her voice. So for some reason, the challenge came into my head. Just write your phone number and put it there. So I did, and then nothing happened. But then years later, I met some people from a dating site, and it turns out that one of them was this girl. Like, I later found out. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, the but I know that that's kind of like from the movies, but life is not really a movie, because like there's so many different factors. People like the symbolism, but I'm like, there's so many factors that go into, like, if you end up with a person or not. You know what I mean?
symbolism in a way, like synchronicities, or like that's kind of how, what do you mean by
Yeah,
symbolism? Like,
like
well,
this kind of stuff looks
how it
great
came
in
full
a
circle,
movie.
that.
Like, it
Mhm.
looks great on a movie, but in the real life, I don't know if it's always like the thing that you should base your whole thing on. Like, oh, this happened to me, therefore maybe I'm just like
Don't analyze. Yeah, yeah, don't. Like,
don't know.
it's wonderful to have this kind of well, again, we're here to play, right? So if that was a right person for you, and that's what your soul is guiding you all the time, and it knows everything about you, it knows all of your desires, all of your goals, and it knows where to take you. And the only time when you're disconnecting from that guidance is when you're thinking that things are going wrong. So when you think that you got to know that this is a sign of something bad, instead, my suggestion will be to see something as a good thing. And if you nourish that, and if you nourish that, and if for every no that you get, you say thanks, because that just brings me closer to what I really, really want, you're keeping yourself open and allowing to really be taking where you need to be taking.
Right.
But if you're going to be focused on that as a sign of something gone wrong, that's where you disconnect, and this is where you kind of cannot make sense out of it anymore, and it just doesn't. um, I want to give you an example that I had with my kid. The other day we went to walk. and there were two parks that we could play with, both school parks, and we were not part of the school. We come to the first park, and he's like, I'm shy, I'm shy. And I'm like, he's not really shy. But I also, I challenge every belief. So I'm like, I don't see shy as a negative thing. I told him, if you're feeling shy, maybe you're just feeling there's something off for you there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And let's go see what's going to happen. So he felt shy, and he went towards that park, and this adult person came and told him he needs to leave because it was just a group of people playing there with masks, and we were outside of the group, and it was like a no. And he came to me all sad, and he said, oh, I was shy, I went there, and then I got a no. And I said, first of all, you were not shy. You felt something was off, but you were curious enough to see what is to see it through. So you had courage, even though you felt shy, to go there and check it. And you came there and you got a no. So now you again have a choice. So you have a choice to see it as a bad thing or a choice to see it as a good thing. So I said, okay, if you choose to see it as a bad thing, you're going to feel bad because somebody rejected you and somebody told you you should not be here and play with us. And you could see it as a sign of bad things. But that makes you feel bad. And what if you say, okay, thanks for telling me no, because your no brings me faster and closer to what I really want and what I really resonate my happy with. And he said, okay, let's pick that one and see what happens. And he's 4 years old, right? And so we choose to say thank you to that lady that told us no. And without any resentment, just continue our journey. And as we continue walking, we came to the other park, and he met friends from his street there, and he went
Mm.
there and he just ran into the playground. He met them and they played so nicely. There was no shy, there was no fear, there was no pushing back. So do you understand where I'm going with
Right,
this? It's
right,
like,
right,
this is what we often see. So, and this is why we're so afraid to risk and take risk and play with life. It's like trying to analyze whether this relationship is better than the other one, just because we want to make sure. But there is no such thing as sure. It's, you will never be sure. You will always get another opportunity to make a decision and another opportunity to make a decision, and you will grow and you will change constantly. So what about you just stay bold and see how abundant life really is, make a
mm.
decision, line up with it, do it, whatever, and then you get a no. And then instead of seeing it as a bad thing, you just accept it and say, okay, let's see what's next. And then you find what's really better than you. And then this is working out. And then it starts feeling bad. And then you're again at the crossroads when you have to make a decision. Okay, so is this something that I want to overcome? Is this, am I feeling bad in this relationship because I'm needing to learn something and I keep refusing it? Or is
Right.
this bad because it's really bad? And then again, and so this is how you, I don't really,
Okay.
choices, like what is choice, you know? It's like, I think you can't avoid choosing anything, so it's like you're gonna
Right.
do it one way or another,
Right.
so
Even
you
if you
may
don't
as well
make a
accept it all.
choice, even if you don't make a
It's still a
choice, you still
choice.
a choice, right? If you
Yeah,
um
and you can't go wrong. Like I said, that's the thing. It's like, I really, when I look back, it's like, you know, sometimes it takes you longer to realize some things, and sometimes it's going to take you longer to do what's right for you. And sometimes you're
right.
going to, you know, but it's all right. In the end, isn't everything always working out for you? Didn't everything brought you to a little bit better place than what it was before? And didn't you grow a little bit more in a direction that you wanted to grow? And when you see it from that perspective, you really realize all of those people, all of those disastrous, beautiful circumstances that happen were all really a great part of your life, and you could really kind of
Mm.
enjoy them, or you could, like I said, you can be focused on what the trouble is, or you can focus on what the
On the
benefit
good.
is. It's, and that's the
Mm.
choices. This is where we come back to choosing. You
Right.
are always choosing all the time, every moment
S-
of your life.
Somebody told me once that rejection is God's protection. So like
Mhm.
so even if I get rejected in this instance, see as God's protection, that saved me some anguish at certain times, because I'll be like, ah, yeah, whatever.
not just not just save you an anguish, but keep you in the open space to allow. And I'm going to give you a real example, and I know these are hard things to overcome because there's lots of assumptions that are connected to that experience, so you kind of have to see all of those events in a different perspective to really kind of make sense of it. But let's say, as an example, I always had like issues around work. And when I would apply for work, I felt a lot of anxiety around it, a lot of like that despair around blah, blah, never mind. But when I would apply for work, anxious, anxiety stuff, and then I would get a response from work, it would be like, no, we don't accept you. And I would go deeper and deeper into those bad feelings. Nothing was happening. But as I was healing my own self through the sessions that I work, as I was healing my relationship to work and what work is, and that not work doesn't has to be a bad thing, and then
Right.
relationship with money, becoming friends with money, I actually brought myself to the point where I eventually, like at one point, I applied for a job that I was so sure I'm gonna get. Or you can apply it for a person, like you see a person and you just want it, you want it, and you go and get it, and you are so sure you're gonna go and get it. And then I got a no from it. And it was the first time in my life where I was laughing at it. And this is
Okay.
how I knew how far I've come, how far I've changed my beliefs, or really changed my beliefs around it, was that moment. And I wasn't even sure like why I was applying to that job. It was just like guiding me. So it's like you can't avoid choosing. It's like it's gonna bring you there. You can't miss it for the world, but it's how you react to the things that happen to you that will decide what's gonna happen next. So before, when I would get rejected, or I would stay in that anxiety, I would manifest works and jobs, but they were always unfulfilling. And when I did that last thing where I applied and I was rejected and I started laughing, the
Mm-hmm.
next thing that came for me was my own business.
Your own business.
Because
So
my own
you,
business.
okay. And this was
So
the what you're doing now, kind of.
yeah, yeah, this
Right.
is what I do now. And this actually turned out to be a very successful business for me. But because I didn't had anything more to resolve, if that makes sense, like I had no more work to do, my emotional response to rejection was excitement. It was like, okay, this is not happening for me. What's coming next? And then this excitement, this acceptance, this real, true acceptance that cannot be faked. You
Mm.
cannot fake it. This is what, and then I started getting all the information, how I'm going to call my work, what is exactly going to be, how exactly I'm going to do it. I started getting funding for the business school that has taught me all I needed to do. So boom, 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 solutions just started flooding in. And before, whenever I would go into that despair of thinking something is wrong with me because it's not working out, or my intuition is not leading me right, because you see it's just staring at the problem all the time, I couldn't get all that thing because I was just so focused on the problem. So I
Right.
want to say, when making a decision, don't focus on a problem. Don't even try to make a decision. Just like say what you want. Say what you want. So as an I want a really great, fulfilling relationship, or I would really love to be my own boss and make my own money. And then do whatever makes you happy. That's it. Don't think of how you're going to manifest it. Don't think on how exactly it's going to look like. But it's like, okay, now it feels good to take a walk. This brings me into a good feeling space.
Right. Right.
Or now I'm going to play this documentary that makes me feel good. I'm bringing myself into the
Right.
good space. And this is
So
where I learned that good feeling space is what brings you things that you want, and bad feeling places are still bringing you stuff that you want, but in a way to learn more, to realize more, to learn
well,
more.
it's also harder to be in that space because you're like so you're like drudging along compared to feeling good, and feeling good always, people prefer feeling good obviously. And but yeah, I want to have like you said we could do maybe a short demonstration of your work so people know what you do. And I was gonna go back first to the, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can go back to the university thing, because to me that's connected to two things. It's that decision, but also like I have this thing, and maybe just saying, I think I mentioned it before, is that I tend to put things off. So that's day-to-day decisions. Instead of like, oh, I'm gonna do the work, I'm like, YouTube video or this or that. you know.
What people call procrastination, right?
Correct. Correct.
I call it calibration. I call
Calibration.
it, yeah, because when you're procrastinating, what you're really doing is like you're not sure what you're wanting, and you're giving your body space and time to figure it out. So you're
Yeah.
not postponing it, you're just really not sure what you're going after. Because when you're aligned with what you're going after, there is no way to procrastinate, then you're inspired for action. That action comes from that like
Mm,
really inspired place. And this is
right.
what you want in everything you do if you want to feel good. That's where the good feeling comes from. It's not about
Right.
forcing yourself to feel good. It's about clarifying what is it that you want. And this is what I help people figure out in my sessions, one of the things. So your question is about a direction to go in terms of education,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Okay. How many options you have to choose from? Is
So,
do you is it
oh,
like,
I'm already in. Um,
oh, okay,
I'm already in. It's just that I'm considering actually leaving it altogether because I'm actually doing pretty
okay,
bad because I'll
okay,
have to reset some of the economics. I'm
okay,
studying.
stop. Okay, stop. I'm gonna stop you right there. And sorry, this is not rude. It's just whenever we speak about things, momentum of them is going on. So I just want to, okay. So you are studying something that you're not really 100% completely interested about. This is what I'm getting. And you're studying it because you believe that this is the recipe that's going to take you to the goal that you, in your mind, think means success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are in there studying and it's not feeling fulfilling.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like a very obvious thing. It's like when you're doing things that are not fulfilling, of course you're going to manifest it. And if you keep pursuing it, for sure you can find a way to finish it. And then what? Then you're going to manifest the work that you're not satisfied in, right? So the only reason why you're hesitant to make the decision is because of the fear that what's on the other side is not going to work out, because everybody told me if I finish economics, I'm certain to have a certain success in life. It's going to be easier for me. It's going to be better for me. It's going to be bringing me the money that I want. But my whole body is like saying, ugh, ugh, right? And tell me
Right.
if I'm not. And there's
I,
nothing wrong with that. Mhm.
yeah, it's hard, and also there's a lot of math and stuff like that. So it it's
Yeah.
daunting. It's daunting on a lot
You're
of
bending,
levels.
like relationship, you're bending yourself trying to fit the certain idea because you don't trust what's on the other side of the solution is going to work out. So you think, and this is very similar to me. It's like I only had a high school education. I felt a huge resentments towards going to college because I didn't see it work out for my friends. I even went on some of the classes with them because you could just kind of join the class and see it. So I was exploring it and I was like playing with it, but it was obvious for me, this is not my direction. I don't want to do it. And so many people from all the sides are telling you, if you quit on that, if you give up on that, you will never be successful and you are doomed to fail. And you take their opinion as a rule,
Right.
and you're right. And this is why I struggled. This is why it took me like 4 years of intense work to be able to start my own business, because I was also like that. I had all of those voices telling me what I was supposed to be doing instead of trusting my own self and just believing that even though I'm not sure exactly where it's taking me, even though the picture is not fully clarified, I still feel my way through life.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you see, and it's like for me, what I had to do, I had to stop communicating with all of my friends, all of my family, because everybody was telling me, don't go there, don't be a psychic, don't be a helper, don't be, this is like bad thing, this is a lie, this is, you're giving people false hope, you are living in a cloud. What else do they say? You're not being real, you're not, so they had all of these reasons why I should continue, in a direction that didn't feel good, or I had to just cut it all off. And it was a hard thing to cut it all off because you feel like you've abandoned people, or they abandoned you. You don't feel supported. You feel lost. So there's like a blah blah around that.
Yeah.
But then experiences start coming to you, and this is what happened for me. It's like, I said no. My feelings matter to me more than opinions of others, and this is a hard decision to make. because I said, okay, how I feel matters, and my feeling will take me to where what's better for me. And I had no idea how it's going to happen. But then people came to me, I started learning about stuff, and then I started doing it, and I started having people attending me for sessions, and all of those opportunities were for me to override those old beliefs. How much do I think I'm worthy of achieving something with no education? Is
Right.
it at all possible? Am I worthy of receiving money for talking, to other
Right. Right.
people,
Right.
for doing something crazy, right? That other
So it
people don't see as.
it paid off in the end because you trusted
Yeah,
your what you wanted. And because I do have ideas what to do. I just have not done them. I have a lot of
yeah.
ideas actually.
Yeah,
uh,
and I mean ideas, you see. So that's it. You're receiving information. Like I said, your soul already knows what you want. It already knows. You already created everything you want in your life. It's like you don't even have to effort a lot to make it happen, but you got to allow it in your experiences, because
right.
as long as you stay in a bad feeling relationship, you're not allowing the good feeling relationship to come to you. As long as you're deciding to participate in a jobs that feel unfulfilling, you're not giving the space for something more fulfilling to come. But it's a
Mm,
scary place to be, because
right.
there is a lot of uncertainty there. So
Yeah.
for me, I quit the job. I had no idea how it's going to play out, but it happened. But I had to kind of soothe myself a lot, and I had to soothe myself and saying, something along the line, things are always working out for me. I will receive information that's going to be beneficial for me when the time comes. You can kind of talk yourself with it. It's kind of almost like give up on making decision. This is the first thing. So that's acceptance. I am where I am. I'm doing what I'm doing. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with it. That's the first step I'm getting for you. So there's nothing wrong with going to that college, nothing wrong with the ideas that you're getting. It just is what it is. How about I don't have to make a decision right now? So you
Yeah, I'm
you
fine
kind
with
of bring
that.
your body, you see how your body kind of relaxed right away.
Yeah.
This is the key. You want to relax your body in any way possible. And when you say that, I don't have to make a decision, let's just see how it plays out, things are going to start playing out for you, instead
Mm,
of you figuring it all out and you forcing it. I would say don't leave college yet, if you're not sure and ready, but kind of stop paying attention to that as much. Stop trying to figure it out, or stop trying to blame it or understand it or whatever. Just like
right.
it's there, it's there, it's there, it's okay, it's there. What is the next best thing I can do for me? So I get, you want to expand maybe your this what you're doing, right? The
Yeah.
podcasting.
I can do some other things as well. Like
Yeah.
one example is years ago, I did this thing. Me and my friend went out and asked people about regrets, and so it's really scary to what some of the stories come out. But actually, I really loved it. Like the result was really cool.
Perfect word for, and this is what is
Yeah.
block. It's like regrets. Will I regret this decision? This is what, that's the fear. That's the
Yeah. Yeah.
fear
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
through, right? So it's like, if I drop this college, and maybe you will, let's, and then the second thing I love to do is facing the fear. So let's face it, let's stare right it in the eye. Okay, let's say that you dropped that college that was promising such a great career for you and be so fulfilling and full of money, and
Right.
I keep getting that's not it though.
I don't even believe it myself.
You see. And there you
Uh,
go. That's and again, that's it. That's all we needed to say. Laugh about it. So you see how we're already laughing
right.
about it. It's like it's so clear that it's not the way, but it's like, okay, so that there's the clearing that energetically is happening, because as long as you're hating the decisions you made or blah blah, it's like that tug of war between you, and now you're like relaxing
Right.
in
Right.
that
Right.
all. So it's not representing the big problem anymore. So now you may like feel inspired to do that little uh, whatever the inspiration comes to you, and you will not find yourself procrastinating because you stop the struggle with the college. You kind of put that on the side. It's like, I can deal with this later, I can decide this later, I can just skip the class for now or whatever, or I can whatever, it's just on a side now. So now you will see this, how it's going to shift for you, because now you will get an idea and you're actually going to do it, and then you're actually going to see people that are going to fully support it, and
Right.
then you're going to see some kind of results from it, and this will give you the fuel for the next step. And then again you will be presented with challenge or the decision again to make, again, how I'm going to do it. And so you will keep
Mm,
making decisions and keep making decisions, and you will know from now on that there is no regret. There is no regret whatever way you choose. It's just like different sets of challenges and different
right.
sets of things you will learn, but there is no like easier way or better way. It's just a different way. It's just different way. So what challenges are you more willing to take on? The challenges of being in a corporate world, or doing finances or whatever, or the challenges of getting people to hear about your work, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
How let's end with relationships, because that's a big one. So
Yeah,
I have a couple ideas. Let because before we started, you asked me to write, because I don't want to name the
yeah, yeah,
people. You don't want to
yeah.
name the
Person
women
A,
in
B, C. Yeah.
question. Yeah, but let's say there's three, or no, okay, maybe four. Let's
Oh,
see.
nice, rich life.
Not rich,
Yeah.
rich options in my mind.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So let's see, A, B, C, and D. And okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay, so first thing your soul wants to tell you is that remember, there is no wrong decision. Remember, there are no regrets. You cannot go wrong. And when you relax with it, it's going to happen for you instead of you having to choose. You don't have to choose. You just gotta let it come to you.
There we
Because
go.
when you put yourself in a good feeling space, when you focus on things that actually feel good, that you can make a decision on, because you can't manipulate other people, you can't drag other people into your life, you can't make other people do things that you want them to do. It will never happen. It will never happen. You can only have influence over your life, and you can happily co-create with someone this thing or another thing. So this is what it wants to emphasize for you. So once you realize that, and when you choose to do things that you actually can make a decision on in your life and choose to be happy, you will start seeing that people will fall off on their own and come in on their own, because you will kind of have this energy around you that will very clearly say come in or get out. And it's like, and your soul knows much further and much better what's actually beneficial for you, that your human mind, little mind, can even start comprehending.
That's interesting.
So
So being happy is the key to getting what your soul wants, basically. Or
yeah, exactly. How you feel matters, because how you feel is how you vibrate out, and then how you vibrate out, you attract. Because we live in a world of attraction. We don't live in a world of assertion. You can never assert something. It's like, it's almost like when you struggle and assert, you only get back more of assertion and more struggle back. So it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But when you are just like your own and you're happy, and it's like, I'm just going to give an example. Okay, I'm really happy to not know where I'm going. Okay,
okay.
you're going to find a person that is comfortable with that, being happy of not knowing where you're going, and that person will be happy to co-create with you not knowing where you're going.
Ah, that's
Okay, but if
interesting.
you're, so, and this is clearing for you what means to be happy, because you think being happy is always feeling good, but that's not true. Being happy is being okay with where you are. It's like
Ah,
being okay with everything, being okay with your sad, and being okay with your mad, and being okay with you figuring out stuff. That's what like true happiness really is. It's like that piece of calm and piece of like when you're flowing and you know that the answers will come, and you know that it's going to go up and down. So as you are comfortable in who you are and what really matters with you, you're going to invite creative components to that, reality to be built in a physical terms. But
Mm,
if you're forcing yourself to be happy through going to a certain college or doing certain stuff, or posing yourself a certain way, you will still kind of invite those co-creative components into your life, but you're going to create more of that, whatever crap that is, right? Not knowing, not you kind of get where I'm
right,
getting. But
right,
let's
right,
go
right.
back. So being happy is being okay. So I'm the person who is happy not knowing where I'm going. So which person can is best with that, or is it really or I don't know, am I ready to kind of create more concrete life? Do I really want to settle? So it's like, really, what are you looking for in the relationship would be my first question. What are you looking for? Yeah, and
Yeah.
I can answer it for you if you want, because
This is
I
fun.
hear
Go.
it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I hear. Is I hear I want it easy. I want it simple, and I want it fun. I want to continue exploring for now, because I don't really feel I found my way yet. I kind of know where I'm going and the direction I'm going, but and this is shifting as I'm speaking. I think your goal is going to become way more clear in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I
so
agree
I
with
want it
that.
easy. I want
Yeah.
it easy. I want it fun. Okay. I want it easy. I want it fun. I want someone, I get creative. I get a people person, someone who
Yeah.
can inspire me or encourage me in the direction that my soul wants to go. So I see someone who is very um, I'm not going to even analyze the ABCD. I think the answer is going to be very clear for you after we have this chat. So what I'm seeing is a person who makes easily connections with a lot of people, someone who is very, uh, I don't know, I just get connected, who is good with, because the work you want to do is all about connection and communication. So
Yeah.
that's the key. You want a person that has the ability to listen, communicate, see that it's not all about them, kind of understand the playfulness of exploration. um, what else do you want? You want the support, that's obvious. You want someone who accepts you for who you are, but that has to be the person who accepts themselves for who they are.
Of
So if
course.
ABCD, whoever of them accepts themselves most, is most comfortable with who they are. So you don't want a person that's like apologizing all the time or finding faults in other people all the time. You just want someone who is very sure in what they're doing, right? And
Yes.
then, because they will be able to recognize it in you and let you play your thing, right? They're not
Or
going
it,
to want to.
or it might be somebody else other than this
It's somebody totally
list.
different,
It's
because
not.
we're clearing it, right? So
Yes.
and you see, so when you come from a place of confusion and want to manifest stuff, then you manifest all kinds of things, and this is the only reason why it's making you have a feeling you got to make the choice. But
Right.
when you get your body into that good feeling place, then things kind of come for you. And this is what I want to show people through my work, that it's not about efforting and finding answers and making decisions and feeling whatever it is around it. It's really as simple as, how can I be the best I can at this moment now? And if the best I can is cry myself out, then that's the best you can do. But then what's the next day the best thing I can do? Okay, now I can go for a walk. Okay, now I can watch a movie. But really, like, tuning up with your body. If I listen to this song, does it makes me feel sad? So you're going
Right.
down there. Okay, can I listen to the song that actually pumps me up and makes me feel better? Because the negative emotion is a discord with who you are, and it doesn't bring it's like rejecting kind of people and stuff. And the more you are in tune with you, easier things come, if
Hmm.
that makes sense,
That
right?
makes a lot of sense, and this will be a lot of fun to watch in a few weeks.
Yep.
This last part. You know.
Well, I wanted to actually, I got before we started that you will post like a part two for this conversation, just so people who are looking can actually see the results of it, just like an
Oh,
update
okay.
of what happened in a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah.
weeks.
I have
And
often
look,
guest on again. There
and
you
the
go.
card indecision. And this is because you're not supposed to make a decision. So this whole thing happened for you to relax about not having to make decisions, because It's not about that. It's not
Right.
about the logical approach at all. It's about what am I, who am I, what does it mean when I'm in my jam, when I'm doing my thing, no matter what it is, and then you will find supportive components to that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so if people want to contact you for your work, where can they find you?
Is the website very simple, just mayadov.com, or find me on Facebook. They can do that there, yeah. But
Awesome.
I'm
Is
still like, I still feel like we're doing something, but yeah.
well,
uh, yeah,
your
that's cool.
real name is Maya with J.
Yeah, yeah, but this is
Right,
Mayadove,
right,
yeah, with a Y.
right. Yeah, we can do more. I feel yeah, I'm okay with the indecision. Actually, with my university, I've been acting like I don't care for a long time, so that's not
Mm-hmm.
surprising to me. I've been
Okay.
skipping some lectures and all that, going back weeks back, and because I was just like, I can't, especially if you don't do any with the work. Like, what's the purpose of me being there? I won't even know what are we doing. So I'm like, I'm just
So
gonna
that's the
sleep.
thing. It's like you want to effort in a direction that obviously is not calling you. And you're trying to force, it's almost like trying to make a relationship work. It
Right,
doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. That's it. That's what people need to realize. But whenever you're in something that it's not quite clear how it's going to play out, my suggestion would be stop staring at that subject, stop paying attention to it just for as long as you can. And if you can spend 10-20 seconds a day of just tuning to yourself and feeling yourself without all that. Okay, so I'm Matiaj, and what feels like me, what feels like me, my own freedom, my own, okay, I have some doubts about that, I'm not really sure if I can achieve it, okay, all of that is
right.
inside, but it's going to be cleared out for you. So it's like, that's it. It's like I said, like the right people, the wrong people can come to you, the wrong opportunity, it's just going to fall off on its own. Try stopping, like stop trying to make it happen is what I'm getting. Stop trying to make it
Mm,
happen.
okay.
Instead spend 10-20 seconds a day in your good feeling space. Focus on the stuff that brings you good feelings. Accept everything that is, be easy with yourself, and then watch what happens. This
That's
is
not a
what it's
lot.
telling
20
you.
seconds. That's really short.
Nothing. 10 seconds. Don't even take 20 seconds for it. 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. But it's just to show the willingness of like what matters to me, just to bring slowly. And so what's going to be happening now? It's going to be happening that you're going to get more and more irritated by the things you don't resonate with.
Right,
It's going to be like a rock in your shoe. So it's going to be very obvious what you need to do about that.
right.
Yeah. And then the good components are at the same time will start coming in, that will encourage you on your journey and will say, okay, I really like what you're doing. I really would love to see you succeeding. If you show us that you can succeed, that would inspire a lot of people. This is the change we're going through at this time. It's so many of us, have been taught that success and feeling happy comes from being in a certain box or accepting certain rules, and we're kind of breaking through those barriers. And I understand it can be very hard. I was falling in and out for some time, but
Mm,
you don't have to be worried about it, because as long as you keep those 10-20 seconds a day, as long as you keep saying no to what really doesn't resonate with you, what really doesn't, like, if it gives me headache, if it makes me feel bad about myself, then I should just like ignore it, avoid it. It doesn't matter. It's not for me. It's not for
right.
me. Turn around, go to what does. And it's like magnets. The more you do that, the more you magnetize what's good about you, what's good for you. And it's like it starts happening now. I can't even explain it to you. I know the words, your experience will show it to you, but it's almost like all the stuff that's not good for you will just bounce off. You will see like people like canceling you. You will invite someone as an example for the podcast, and you will think it's a great idea, and they will tell you no, and you will find yourself in the same space where I was, and you're going to laugh at it, and you're going to say thanks for canceling. I know this was something way better is coming. And then you're going to stop looking at that subject and turn to a totally different subject. Okay, what's next, what's coming
Yeah,
instead, what's coming instead. So this is like you become free of making choices. The choice is already made. You're just allowing them to play out. And this is where you kind of have this feeling that you're living in the game. It's like you don't have to go to metaverse to experience it. You're already there. You're going to see like, holy moly, your life starts becoming full of this crazy, oh my God, how did this happen? And I cannot believe where did this happen? And how come I got this information? And oh, look, oh, this piece of information. Oh, this free course came up for me, you know? I
Right.
started my business with nothing. No funds, no money, no family, no support,
Right.
nothing. As long as I was crying about, oh, I don't have support, nobody's supporting me, nothing was coming to me. When I stopped looking at it, when I start, okay, I do this work because it's really fun for me to do, and I just don't give a poop what anybody thinks about it. I'm
Right.
just going to do it because it's fun for me. Then I started to get more people interested in my sessions. I started to raise my prices. I went from, working for free, these kind of things with people that were very heavy. I came for charging a lot of money with people who are so ready to have these
But
wonderful, awesome experiences in life. And this is what gave me like the strength and the courage to keep continue and continue and continue. And I'm not saying like there was some challenge where I was like, oh, I'm going to give up. I'm just going to go and work in McDonald's. I don't care. I'm just going to keep all the knowledge that I have for myself, But then I would sit on the couch. It was like that. Okay, so I could like, what can I do? This effort feels like too much efforting. So I'm going to put a TV on, and I put a show on, and I grab my phone and I start scrolling on Facebook, and this like commercial pops up for the free business school in Canada to teach me all about business. I'm like, oh, how convenient. Maybe I should respond to that without
right.
any like making decisions, any no heaviness. And I got accepted, and I got it for free. And
Oh,
suddenly all these
wow.
people started to come asking for my sessions. And then everybody tells me, if you want to be successful in this psychic work and whatever, you got to have Instagram. And whenever I would try go on Instagram, I would feel like, no, no, no. It felt heavy for me. It felt like it's not working for me. And I wanted to push it because you're logical. Everybody is saying so. It must be true, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
keep
Right.
pushing. And I said, F doing it. I was really felt comfortable with that. Like, I'm going to be the secret you have fun. And whoever comes to me is going to be excited to win. They reap huge benefits from it. They're amazing. Ship them in there. Guess what? It happened. So I had some like people
Sorry, but
heal
our
from
connection is
things.
getting bad right now. So I didn't catch everything.
That's okay. It's a lot of energy. It's all right.
Yeah, maybe the energy is interfering now with the internet connection.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
but
okay.
it seems like the key then is to, if you can get yourself in a happy place. Like I decided this month, because I've never sometimes after Christmas, I feel like I've really not enjoyed the Christmas period as much as I could have. So this year I decided, you know what I decided? I'm just gonna try to watch as many Christmas movies as I can, like, because I like movies anyway. So I watched Christmas List, The Christmas Miracle, and something else yesterday, Christmas with Bob or something. And and it was good. I like it. Like they also tend to be emotional movies, but it kind of in a happy ending way kind of thing. So I'm like, yeah, this is good stuff.
So you see how genius your internal guidance system is. What you really were doing, that you were loosening up your resistance.
Yeah.
Because before that you were like, oh, I don't have happy holidays. My holidays don't look like in the movies. Or, oh, I hate freaking Christmas. Oh, I hate Christmas movies. I was like that. I had a lot of anger and hate towards everything
Right.
because my life was not working the way I wanted it to work. But as you loosen up that resistance, as you see things from a playful side, oh, whatever, it's Christmas. If I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm not. So loosening that resistance, that's the key. You already have the key, you're already noticing. So just keep doing it. That's all you really need to do. It's just like having less and less reasons to be angry and in a fight mode and in a rejection mode and in an analyzing mode and in any kind of struggle mode, really, just to put it simply. And it's not about being happy, it's just feeling at ease, being okay with not doing anything, or being okay with taking it easy, or being okay with trying different things that you've never tried before, such as watching Christmas movies, right? For me,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I never watched it before. This year I'm watching it. That's funny that you say that, but that's it. It's like loosening
Yeah.
the resistance. We don't have to be so Yeah, so you're right on track. And by you doing that, you are actually, what you're doing is your body is relaxing. You don't find yourself all the time in, I gotta find this partner, I gotta find this job, I gotta,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all like fighting stuff. So instead you're like, oh, whatever. A lot of people are scared to be in that place because they've been teaching us it's unproductive, it's lazy, it's procrastination. But you know what? It's like I'm seeing some people that are efforting in the way you try to do, and things are still very difficult for them in their lives. And then I see myself, who actually had balls to do what felt right for me, and even though it was scary, even though it meant not doing anything for months and just not knowing where the paycheck is going to come from, but I kept saying myself, it's going to play itself out. I'm going to be rewarded for the courage that I have, kind of trying to see pink, and it happened. So
hmm.
that's it. Exactly. It's like, you never know. Maybe you will get inspiration from that ridiculous movie.
Right, right. And but I feel like I've been doing this for years, like not doing what I'm supposed to do and just kind of don't going with the flow and all that. And people are saying you should get a job. I'm like, yeah, I should get a job, but then I don't really find a job because I don't really want a job. And when I'm
Yeah.
looking at this particular
But you
time,
do want it. You do want it. This is what I want to clarify for you. This is how
yes,
sessions look like. I just stop you in your own BS and kind of take you to what really resonates with you. Because when you think like that, you see how you start feeling like, oh, everybody's dumb. But you know what you want. You want to make great money, and you want to have a great life, and you want to live comfortably, and you want to have a great partner with it. And you want to do it by doing this fun conversations because you want to give a platform for other people to express themselves, right? You want to
yes,
explore and create something new. You are here to bring new energy. You are here to kind of smash the paradigms of the old stuff. And yes, it's scary to go against everybody, and it's scary. But like, when you realistically look at all those people that are giving you those advices, how happy are they in their own lives? So this is what I did. This became my rule. Whenever somebody gives me an advice, my question is, how happy is that person? How satisfied with life they are? What kind of example are they giving to people around them? And if they impress me, I will definitely hear
oh yeah,
their advice, and I will think about it. But if they're not, then just have courage to do it. Believe it. Believe it, and you're going to see it shape and form in the reality. It
that's
really is. The
that's a
only
great
thing that's
standard.
blocking us the only thing that's blocking us is the doubt. That's the only thing that stands in your way, really, is that doubt, is that, nobody else did it before me, everybody else thinks it's a stupid idea. But when you do it, oh boy, is it satisfying. You can't even share it with nobody. you know it's
Right.
it's like you want to scream on it. I wanted to scream to everybody like how easily I lost that weight. I even like bragged on that weight loss group, and nobody wanted to publish my story because my story was proving that you don't need
Just
gyms, you don't need
right.
meal plans, you don't need to stop eating cake, you don't need, but it can be easy. But that's like, challenging many other people's comfort zones and whatever.
Right,
They're
because
just,
they're like, oh, it's not supposed to be easy.
it's got to be tough.
You're supposed to
Yeah.
suffer, and oh yeah.
Yeah. And we live in a society that celebrates suffering, even like podcasts. Like, to be honest, everybody wants to talk about the past, not realizing it takes them right back into that energy. You
Oh yeah.
can go back and create the new. So we need people that are willing to drop the old, just drop it, and just create the new, just create it. And we are called to do it. It's up to us, really, because it's time.
Yeah,
And you will see how it shifts.
and the world is in a constant state of change anyway. So the ones that adapt to change are the ones that are gonna be future leaders anyway, and the ones that are sticking to the old ways are gonna fall to the wayside, as it were.
Oh, well, again, no wrong way, right? Let's get back to that perspective. No wrong way. Don't beat yourself up, because if you judge something, you eventually kind of, the life takes you there just so you can have a greater understanding of it. So don't go there.
I
It's like
see.
everybody is where they need to be. Everybody's playing their own realities. Everybody's playing their own game. They're right where they need to be. And some people, are thriving on being sad. I met
Yeah.
people that, would come to me for session. I would get, wow, you really want to do this movie, and in order to do it the way you want it, you got to experience this sad. This is what keeps you going. This is what gives you the sense of purpose. For me, it was like, I really like feeling happy. I really do. And then
Right.
I didn't allow myself to feel happy because there's everybody else who is, oh, this, you can't be happy all the time. You must be crazy if you're happy all the time. So I had to challenge those beliefs for myself. And once I accepted that I will be happy for nothing else but me, is when I start seeing,
Right.
all these kind of things.
This reminds me of I love YouTube comments sometimes, they're great. And then there was this there's a movie from the 80s called The Breakfast Club or something like that. And is it there's like the story about four kids that are in detention or whatever. And there's one guy in the comments saying about how in 1985 he had this girlfriend, that this movie came out and it was summer and he was a teenager and all that. And he says, he ends it with, I didn't know it then, but it was a great time to be alive. I was like, what? This is my experience with life. Like when I look back, I was like, I wish I was happier then because I didn't know it then, but actually it was great.
How good it was, right? And
Yeah.
look, and this is the card that came up for you. It's the gratitude. So you came from indecision to gratitude, and this
Yeah.
is exactly it. Life will never get better than it is right now. And I'm not meaning like of course it will get better, but it's like, you're here, you're now. Choose what feeds you and what makes you happy, and appreciate all the small things, and appreciate the no's and appreciate the yeses, and just live in this state of appreciation. See the bigger picture as many times as you can, and just let life unfolds for you. And there is no wrong way to go. There's no wrong decision to make. You don't have to feel guilty or bad about anything. Everything is just serving you great. Everything is inspiring you for something different, something more.
Mm,
And it's like success. You already are success. You are here. You're experiencing this life. You already are success. It's just, how are you going to allow it to happen more and more for you, and how easily you're going to let go of the stuff that doesn't really vibe with you. And that's really it. It's nothing better than that, because you have people that have manifested wealth, don't know how to enjoy it. People who manifest traveling around the world, like me, that have nowhere, and they don't even know where they are. So it's like, it's not about the circumstances,
right.
it's about your own ability to just fully really be in this moment now, and kind of just, yeah, roll with it. It is what it is. I'm making the best. I'm doing my best all the time,
I like that. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I think this is a good place
Awesome.
to finish.
Yes, it
8
is.
p.m.
Thanks so
right here.
much.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you very much, Maya Dove, for being on the podcast. Any parting words you want to say?
No, I think those are perfect words for everybody who's listening, because it applies to everybody. You're not the only person that feels that way. Everybody is in the times of making decisions and trying to create something new, something different. Everybody's looking for that courage to step out of the norms. So that's it, guys. Just be easy on yourself, and take it step by step, and don't force yourself to be happy, but just like lean towards, what feels right and what feels good, and nourish that, and watch
Amazing.
what happens. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you.
podcast, Maya Dove,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
And thank you
Thanks.
for listening
Love
or
you.
watching the podcast.